Hello, everyone. I am Jennifer Kavanaugh. It is March 15th, 2021, and this is Between Worlds. I have a dream to share with you that I had early this morning. It was one of those mornings where I woke up early and then happened to fall back asleep again. It was in that early morning period, which is always when they seem to be the most intense. So let's just jump into it. In this dream, I had a reappearance of the owner from our series on the spiritual rebels. So if you're unfamiliar with who the owner is, pop over onto my YouTube channel and you will find a series of videos that I did with my dear friend Stacy called Spiritual Rebels. And you'll hear the whole long journey and story there. So I haven't had any dreams with her in a while. So this was a little bit surprising to have this morning. And what was happening is there was, I want to say all of us, like all of us, but we'll just say there was a group of us that were working for an energy that was very similar to the owner. So it wasn't necessarily specifically her, but definitely the archetype that she would represent, kind of a combination between her archetype and the wizard's archetype. And everyone was running all these different businesses all over the world. And many of them were nightclubs, bars, dance halls, things like that. And we were constantly working around the clock, nonstop for her. And there was a particular bar, it wasn't in our country. I want to say it was somewhere in Northern Europe. And the person that was managing it, the person, I believe he owned it actually, but we'll say managing it, had called in to say that he was having some issues. It wasn't working. And I could hear the fear in his voice because he knew that that was going to be the end of him because he didn't fulfill a successful business. And yeah, she went off on a rampage when when that call came in, and all of us were fearful. And then I jumped to the hospital, and one of the other men that worked with us, young guy, like early 20s, he was in the hospital bed, and he was literally being castrated. He was removing all of his reproductive organs, and he did this out of his own free will. So he basically volunteered to donate his organs um, for the cause, for this business that was run by this energy. And I remember asking him, like, what are you doing? Like, you this is this is irreversible. What are you doing? And he's like, well, it doesn't matter. It's for the business, it's for the cause. And I don't really use them anyway. And I was like, but you might want to in the future. And he's like, no, I probably won't. um and there was a group of us, and he literally performed the surgery himself. It was very bizarre and concerning to watch nonetheless. And so that happened, and then I went into another room in the hospital, and I was cleaning up, or I was setting up for something. I was moving little devices around. It was like I was organizing in some way. And then the owner stepped in, and there was another woman that came in beside her that I considered a friend. And the owner just started screaming at me. And then she grabbed like a knife or a scalpel, and she was lunging at me like she was trying to kill me. I can't remember what I had done wrong. I don't think it really mattered. It felt like in this organization, you could say, all of us were given the term employees, but we were really slaves. We were really all enslaved. We weren't free, that's for sure, because we knew that if we made a mistake or if we left, we would be killed. So I remember watching her scream and lunge at me, and all of a sudden it was like time froze, and I heard the words, "Your free will. Your free will only works if you activate it, if you act on it. You must act on your free will." And I ran out of the room, and I ran down the stairs, And I decided I was going to run away. And I knew that it was probably the most dangerous thing I could do because I would be killed for doing that. But this voice in my head was just so clear that the only way towards freedom was to claim it. And so I ran down the stairs, and then when I got to the bottom of the stairs, I was actually in the garage of my childhood home, and all of our bikes were set up there, and I could see my adult bike that I have now, but it was behind all of my previous bikes that I have owned in my life, and so I had to take the bright pink little girl's bike because I didn't have time. I knew I didn't have time to waste to ruffle through to an adult size bike. So I grabbed this pink bike and I started trying to bike because I knew I needed to get away faster. And this poor bike didn't get me very far. It didn't get me very fast, but nonetheless, I was determined to go. And my friend who had witnessed this, she came running after me, and she said, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I said, "The law of free will. They can't get us if we're using our free will. They can't violate the law of free will. We have to act on our law of free will." And so we started, she came with me because I said to her, the law of free will protect us because they cannot violate it. So we started running because my bike was not working. It was almost like there was a force that was preventing the wheels from turning. And so we started running into town, and we came to kind of like, it felt like a commercial building, like there was businesses in the building, and we ran up there, and there was an older gentleman who lived there in one of the rooms, and then there was a couple of businesses, and there was a business that opened its doors. I'm not sure what they did. It was like kind of a mix of accounting, administration type stuff, and there was a couple older people that worked in there, and we ran in and we said, "You need to hide us. We need to hide. We need hide. We need to hide. Can you hide us? Can you hide us?" And the woman who was kind of one of the workers or owners there, she's like, "Well, we can only hide you if it aligns with what our mission is here as a business. Like, we can only help you if it aligns with our agenda, so to speak." And I was kind of like, "We don't have time for this. We need to hide." And so I ran back to the old man, and he was finishing up his work. He was cleaning up and getting ready for bed, so to speak. And I said, "Please, please, please, you need to hide us. We need to hide. Can we hide in your closet?" And so he did agree to let us in. And we ran into his closet, which was full of like clothes and boxes and a whole bunch of art supplies. And we kind of made a little wall back in the closet to hide behind his clothes and his art supplies, and turned out the lights. And I think he even came in to hide with us because we knew what was coming for us. And we heard them arrive in the building. We heard them go to the other business first, and they didn't find us. And there was a bit of a ruckus in the hall. And then this little boy, like the age of 6 or 7, and I remember referencing him as like soccer. He was wearing soccer clothes. Came in, and he had ratted us out. He had told them where we were. And I was so angry. And I looked at him, and I had yelled at him, and I was like, "Why would you do that? Why would you do that?" And I mean, he didn't know any wiser. It was just the circumstances. And so they came in, or they were coming towards us, but for some reason, they couldn't get in the actual room. And I was like, "How did they even find us here anyway? How could they have found us all the way across the city in this random apartment so quickly?" And I suddenly became aware that we had tracking devices on us. And I believed in the dream that they were hidden in our keys. So I took my friend's keys and I threw them out the window. And then I was in the process of throwing my keys out the window as well when I realized that my home key was on there and my car key was on there. And I took the time, even though I felt I didn't have time, I took the time to unravel the key from their business, from their world, which was really irritating to me in the dream. I was like, I don't have time for this. I need to get this key off now. And anyway, I threw it out the window as far as I could because I just knew there was a tracking device in there and that they could find us in that way. But I also knew I needed my key to get home, because if I was going to get home, which was my plan, because now I'm on the run. I've activated my free will. I need to get home, and I might need my vehicle, my car, to get there. And to throw it all out with the bathwater wasn't going to do any good to me. And at that point, I was woken up. So there's quite a few parallels for me in this particular dream that are interesting. But the key point that I'm being asked to share this morning is this concept around our free will, and that we need to own it. We need to activate it. We can, I could have sat in that hospital room and cried. I could have got angry. I could have fought back. I could have done all of these things, but it wouldn't have gotten me anywhere. And it would have kept me in their loop of control, right? And so this message that was given to me of, you need to activate it now. You need to go live the life that you're supposed to live now. And yeah, they're going to try and find you for a little bit. And yeah, they're going to be angry that you've left their system, that you've seen what it's doing. You see how they're controlling you. You see how they are tricking you into using your free will to stay in that loop, that system, right? And there's a lot of parallels to this, I think, right now. In we are volunteering and making choices where we are using our free will to make those choices, but maybe we don't have all the information to do it. Maybe we're doing it because we're in duress, or we're feeling pressured, or we're given the illusion that there's no other option. And we don't see that there's always a door. There's always a door, and sometimes the door may be locked, but there's always a moment when the door opens. There's that little window where that voice in your head is going to say, now's the time to activate, to act on your free will. And when you do, the universe will rally around you to protect you. And there's going to be people who don't understand. There's going to be people who are afraid to align with that power of finding your free will. There's going to be people who rat you out. And then there's also going to be these really lovely people who step in to protect you, to give you shelter, to listen to you, to help you see what you haven't yet seen. And this is a theme, I think, that a lot of us are experiencing right now, is we know what we know at this point, and we're trying to make this choice of what is the lesser evil, right? Do we stay where we are out of fear that they're going to come after us if we leave, or do we make a run for it? And I think this dream is saying, now's the time to make the run. Get that little pink bike out, get your own version of your childhood bike out, and, think about that freedom, which is something I was thinking about on the weekend as my own children are learning how to ride their bikes, is that first time you go for a bike ride beyond your own driveway. The first time you go for a bike ride that's like a long bike ride on the road, the first time you go for a bike ride by yourself. Those are all those moments of experiencing freedom, right? And there's so many moments that we forget about that represent freedom for us. You know, sitting outside in the warm breeze, um, you know, not showing up for school or work one day playing hooky, and choosing what you want to do that day, making choices that are perhaps misunderstood by the people around you, but in your heart fill you with that sense of freedom, just like that very first bike ride did. And here we are again, many of us adults at this point, trying to figure out, how do we find that freedom? How do we activate this free will despite all the fear we have? You know, we have our consciousness in our body, and we have a lot of fears around our body, but we also have our consciousness that lives on forever, that moves into the other dimensions, that moves into the astral, as I like to say, that returns back to creator. And perhaps we need to start thinking about our risks in that term, as opposed to in the physical form, in that, what does my soul need for freedom? And there might be ramifications in the 3D realm for that, but it may also be what sets us free into the fifth dimension. You know, what's interesting is that despite in this dream, despite being enslaved, and kind of held against my will in this particular group, I still had the keys to my car, and I still had the keys to my home. And I do believe that those are symbolic of, no matter what is going on, no matter who is programming or using their keys to influence you, you always have access to your home key to get you back home to your heart, home to your soul, home to where your soul has originated from. And you also have access to the vehicle that gets you home. So that could be, I'm going to say, like a physical or an energetic vehicle, but it could also be a means in terms of a practice that gets you there, right? So if my home is accessed through my heart, imagining my heart as a portal into the dimensional space where my soul resonates in its home place, the way to access that heart portal might be through meditation, through being in nature, through water, through wind. It might not be physically getting on in a car or on a spaceship to get there, or it could. I don't know. So anyway, I'll leave that for today. I'm sure some of you may have picked up some other themes in there. There's definitely some big themes going on. So I hope you all are keeping well, and make some choices today. Ask yourself, what do I want to do? What do I, not what do I need to do, or what should I do? What do I want to do? Much love to you all.